What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of #winning. I want to share something today that I think a lot of, I don't know if you're doing this, but I just see this so pervasive in the world of business, at least in online coaching and so forth. And it's this idea that I understand this is going to work, but is this going to work for me? And I want to unpack this here because if you are thinking this, I'm not talking about just in the context of like working with me or our company, but I'm just talking about in the bigger scheme of decision making. So obviously we help health professionals and coaches grow their business. And many of our clients come to us and they've been in school for 6, 8, 10, 12 years. They've dropped hundreds of thousands of dollars in the education matrix that has sucked the life out of them and has left them shackled by debt for 10 plus years. It's criminal. It's absolutely criminal. You graduate with a nice plaque you can put on the wall, some technical skills to help people, and the school's like, all the best. Have fun trying to get clients and build your business. It's absolutely shocking, but it's also why we Healthpreneur exist, to bridge the gap, to help you guys build the business acumen, to actually help a lot of people, including yourself. So I want you to think about if you are someone who's asked yourself, like, is this thing going to work for me? Actually, before I get into that, here's a bigger issue. I remember several years ago, I was looking through a chiropractic industry magazine. I can't remember the name of it. And I remember on one of the pages, it asked, there was a poll or a survey that was asked of 12,000 chiropractors. Which of the following are you investing most in over the next 12 months for your practice? And at the first to like the top rung was ongoing education. Like, okay. And the last thing out of all 12 options, guess what it was? Marketing and business. Last. And I shot a video a while ago about like this whole idea that I call the certification epidemic. I don't know what the fuck it is in the health industry where people think either they're not good enough or they're just like out of procrastination, want to keep getting more and more and more letters behind their name. Yet no one cares about that stuff, other than like us, the practitioner, because we think it's going to make us more valuable in the marketplace. But none of that stuff matters if you can't sell yourself to the market, so they don't even want to work, so that, they work with you in the first place. So that aside, it's, this idea that so many health professionals drop a ridiculous amount of money on their schooling, and then they get into like, well, man, I got to invest a few $1,000s to build my business. What if this is a scam? What if this doesn't work out? It's like, dude, you dropped 50 times this amount of money to get a degree that has left you almost on the line of like poverty line for way too long. Where was the promise of this working out before you did that? And I share this because I'm not saying the school or the education was a bad decision, because I don't think it was. I think it equipped you to become incredible with what you're able to do. I mean, I could give a shit. I could care less if my kids go to university. I think I am so far removed from the formal education system in terms of my disdain for what it is that I think it's completely irrelevant for most people nowadays. With that said, I had an amazing education. I actually used what I went to school for, and I'm very grateful for that. But I have invested more than, I'd say, 75x what I invested for school after school. So whatever I paid in tuition, I can't even remember, to be honest. I've invested more than now $1.2 million in business related coaching and mentorship. So I think my tuition all in may have been 25 or 30,000, which is actually not that bad because I'm obviously in Canada. For those of you guys in the States, it's just highway robbery. But I invested that, and that was mostly covered with the scholarship because I was an awesome soccer player, whatever. But the reality is, even if I had to pay for it, no big deal. What is the bigger issue, like the bigger thing I want you to get here, is I invested that to go to school, and I would have paid, and I would have taken out a student loan if I had to. But I've invested more than $1.2 million after I finished school. Now, I want to contrast that with what most people do, is they spend 6 figures on school and then they dabble afterwards. $200 a course, $1,000 a course, B school, blah, blah, blah. This didn't work out. This didn't work out. This didn't work out. And they're like dabbling with these little marketing courses that are hopefully going to help their business. And listen, like if you're doing that, that's fine. I'm just like, that's how I started. But at some level, like you have to understand, like you get what you pay for. If you're amazing at what you do, a large degree to that, like a large explanation for that is the fact that you invested a large sum of money for your education. And you could also argue, well, there's a lot of other of my colleagues who are not as good. Well, listen, here's what this comes down to. This is the whole point I'm trying to get at, is in the movie Maverick, which is an amazing movie if you haven't watched it. It's basically the sequel to Top Gun. He talks about the fact that you have all these pilots that are flying F-18s, but it's not about the plane. It's about the pilot in the box. It's about the person. And this is what I talk about all the time. It's like you have 100 people in your class. Does everyone get the same grade? No. Does everyone have the same degree of success in their career? No. What's the difference, right? It's not that one person has 2 brains and one doesn't, and some person has it's same curriculum, same professor, same everything. What is the difference? It's each of us individually. Okay, you have to recognize this. And if you're not where you want to be, if you don't have what it is you want in life, in your business, it's simply because you either don't want it badly enough and you're not the type of person you need to be yet to have what it is you say you want. And that might be hard hitting to hear, but I share this with you because it's not about the tactics and strategies. That stuff is easy to do. It's easy to execute. But what's not easy is to execute consistently all the time, no matter what. And why does that happen? Because of this thing between our ears that gets in our fucking way. I've talked about this before, the whiner versus the winner, right? Okay, I've got this amazing strategy. Well, let me just, if I'm honest, I'll just be very real with you. Like, do all of our clients win? No. Do all of your clients win? No. So let me just be honest about why some of our clients don't win, right? Why do some clients just start off gung-ho and then fall off the wayside? I'm not here to lie to you. I just want to be very transparent, because if you ever want my help, I'm only going to tell you the truth. Okay. So here's what happens is we get really pumped about anything we start with, a new workout regime, new diets, new anything. And then what's called this delusional optimism, right? I call it delusional optimism. There's also a more, I can't remember the name of this, so I'm not even going to reference it. But we all start off as like really delusionally optimistic. And my goal here is to help you become very realistic, but also understanding that the ceiling is it's limitless. But a lot of people get into stuff, and I'm not saying that we overpromise and try to oversell things. I don't think we do that. I mean, listen, like I observe what we're doing. And if that ever happens, that's going to be nipped in the butt, trust me. So we get excited about starting something new, and then we start to recognize that it's harder than we thought. And then we start to pull back. And then the whole whiner in our head, this isn't working, self-doubt, is there a better way of doing things? What if I did something else? And this is what happens, right? It like you go rogue, right? And some of our clients, again, I'm not saying, like, again, a small percentage of our clients do this, okay? So I'm not saying on the majority, this doesn't happen. But when we look at churn, right, the number of clients that you lose on a monthly basis as a business, you want to be looking at what's happening with these clients. You want to be having a conversation with them to say, like, what is it about this process that's not making sense for you? And you start to see how people show up. And listen, I take full ownership. Like, I'm literally the chief product officer of our company. I take full ownership for making our product amazing. And that's never going to end. I'm going to continue to make it amazing. And I'm always looking for, where do people get stuck? Like, why is someone's Facebook ad, like one of our clients, Karen, like she launched her first ad and it's killing it. I told her, I'm like, listen, in 3 months from now, you could have $1 million business based on these numbers, right? It's crazy. And then other people launch their first ad, it doesn't work. Launch their 10th ad, it doesn't work. Launch the next ad, it doesn't work. And that's kind of the boat that we fall into as a business. We launch ads all the time and most of them don't work. And then there's like that 10% that stick and it's like, cool, let's scale that to the moon. But the thing is, most people who are relatively young in business years are not the person they need to be to weather the storm. And that's the reason why some people don't succeed, even with our help, is that we have a great vehicle. Our perfect client pipeline, our coaching is really, it's second to none. We know it works, but some people just aren't good drivers. And it's hard to know that until they're in the race, because that's when the real them shows up. Because how you handle pressure, how you handle setbacks dictates how you're going to do in life and in business. Because business is a very concentrated kick in the face repeatedly over and over again. And if you don't have the wherewithal, the resourcefulness, the persistence, the resilience to keep going, it doesn't matter what other people do, because you are not the person who's going to succeed regardless. And I don't want that to be your case, right? I shoot this series of this hashtag winning series is just being real with you about what it takes to win in life. I'm like, if I'm honest with you, I have not been consistent enough in my life to get what I want. And listen, I've achieved a great amount of success, but I'm still not where I need to be, not where I want to be. And if I'm being very real with you, it's because because I have not been consistent enough with the basic important things I need to do in my life. And that's something I've committed to saying once and for all, let's just get it done. And when you take ownership of your results and your life, everything changes, because it's impossible to say that thing didn't work out for me. I got scammed. I got whatever, because no, you didn't. Value is caught. It's not taught. I mean, it is taught, but it's mostly caught. As I mentioned before, value is an extraction game. It's how you show up. It's how you pull value out of what it is you're learning and put it into practice. If I'm reading a book, well, I'll just show you one right here. So if I'm reading a book, Scaling Compensation, okay? If I'm reading this book and I pull nothing out of that book, is that the book's fault or is it my fault? It's 100% my fault. If I were to email the author and say, this $20 was the worst money I ever, no, dude, like, fuck off. You didn't read the book. And if you did, you didn't apply it. Yeah, but I didn't. No, you didn't. You did not apply it. And this is the conversation I have with myself a lot, is I look in the mirror and I say, dude, you're not showing up as the level 10 version of yourself. It's that simple. That's why you're not where you want to be. Stop fucking around, stop making excuses, and actually commit to doing this no matter what. I invest a lot of money in coaching and mentorship to keep me not just like on the cutting edge strategically, but also to challenge me, to hold me to higher standards. And this is what I hope to do with our clients, because it's like, yeah, I can give you the frameworks. I can show you the strategy. I can show you how to execute. But if you start to get in your own head and start to talk yourself out of something because of fear, doubt, whatever, that's when things go wrong. And it's not just our clients. I promise you, if you were to interview every single business coaching program on the planet, you'll hear the same thing. Some people crush it. The majority do pretty well. And some just didn't work out. And then they'll blame the program. But it's like, no, you look for these patterns. How are these people showing up? And listen, like, the reality is I'm not abdicating the fact that, like, in our case, I take 100% responsibility for our clients' failures. I do. Like, if they didn't do well, what can I do better to make that not happen again? So I'm always taking this kind of like energetic, although I understand that I'm not responsible for the results, I'm responsible to them, right? As someone who really, really cares about my clients and their success and the quality of our product, I take ownership of that. I'm like, what am I not doing well enough so that every single person can win? And that might be a losing game, right? It might be a losing game because I'm expecting that even the worst possible clients could win. And that may not be a reality in this lifetime. I don't know. But if I can endeavor to continually make it better and continually show up in whatever way that means to help our clients become who they need to be to succeed, to help our product become what it needs to be so everyone wins no matter what. I think that's a cause worth fighting for. And that's why I'm here. That's why I love, like, even in my first business, like I was thinking about this the other day, our websites were back in the day was helping something like, helping you become the best version of you, like on the health and fitness side. And it's funny because even now with business, it's the same thing I do. It's the same thing. I'm like, yeah, the money, the impact, blah, blah, blah. But that stuff is the results of you, right? It's like when you get better, things get better, but things don't get better without you changing. And so my whole core mission, like as I think about this over and over again, like the reason I'm on this planet is to help people. Like I'm a catalyst for helping people become the best versions of themselves. And so then they can take that and show up in a bigger way in the world so they can also help other people become the best versions of themselves, whether it's their health, their fitness, etc. And I love doing that. Like I really, really enjoy like the tactics and strategy stuff. That's fine, right? What to put on a thank you page, how to, structure a webinar. That's fine. But I can give you all that stuff. I can give you the coolest airplane in the world, but if you don't know how to fly it properly, it's all for naught. So coming back to the core message here of like, what if this doesn't work out for me? Well, I don't know. That's up to you. What if it does, right? And if you want to speak with, some of our clients about their experience, just ask me because I'm not going to give you our clients' phone numbers. I mean, obviously we respect their privacy, but if you want to know what they didn't like or what their experience was, I will tell you 100% objectively, because my goal is not to sell you. And again, it sounds like I'm selling you here, but I'm not trying to. Let me backtrack. Everything I'm sharing with you here, please take this with how you approach your marketplace. I believe that in a world where there's less trust than ever before, and when everyone's making these bold promises online, the one thing that's going to help you stand out is being yourself and being as transparent as possible. So if someone's like, well, what's your guarantee? You may not have a guarantee, right? Maybe you do. But whatever the issue is, like, okay, well, I want to talk to some of your clients. Why do you want to talk to some of my clients? Well, because I want to ask them about their experience. Cool. Can I just be honest and tell you about their experience? This person crushed it and did very well because of this. This person did not do so well, and here's why. Now, is that going to be enough? No, like obviously you'd still want to talk to the person themselves. But what I'm trying to get at is there's a level of transparency, hopefully you get from me, to recognize that I have no vested interest in bringing clients into our world who are not going to succeed. It is the one thing, if anything, I try to repel people. I was speaking with someone the other day on Instagram, and she's like, well, what's your success rate? And I said, our success rate is 100% if you show up. It's that simple, right? And that, like, it's a little bit tongue in cheek, but that's the reality. Is like, yeah, okay, on average, our clients do 243% ROI, blah, blah, blah. Does everyone win? No, we have an 86% approval rating, whatever. But the reality is, the nature of the question is, for me, the problem is, what is your success rate? No. It's not what's my success rate. It's you, the prospect. What is your success rate? Because the very fact that you're asking me that question is concerning for me as a coach, because I only want to take on winners, because winners always find a way to win. And it's better for my business if all of our clients are winners. Right? I want you to think about this. Like, I'll just share one more example, then I'll finish this off. We had someone a little while ago ask us about, is there a back out clause? Like, can I step out of your program if it's not working for me after a couple months? And the answer to that is no. So again, when you went to school, doctor, and you spent 10 plus years and $300,000, you didn't back out. I'm sure you went through many, many moments of doubt, hardship, but you were in. You had this sunk cost. You said, I'm going to become a fucking doctor. I'm going to burn myself to the ground, and I'm going to imprison myself for the rest of my life. That's the realization that a lot of our clients come to. And that's why they come to us, because they're like, I'm sick and tired of this nonsense. And then he's looking for an out after a couple months. It's like, dude, you've been following our stuff for a long time. Well, I mean, there's no surprises here. You're either in or you're not. And if you're in, you treat this like it's medical school. Because the only way you become a doctor is by graduating. The only way you grow your business substantially is by staying on the path, is by not giving up. Like, I can promise you that if you were to work with me for the next 10 years, your life will transform. Your life will transform if you do everything I tell you to do. But a lot of people won't, because this gets in their head. So my big thing that I'm trying to get across in this lesson here is that it's not about the vehicle, it's about the driver. If you follow F1, you might be really annoyed like I am, because Max Verstappen wins every single race. Oh, cool. First couple laps, he's in second place, and then he gets around and he's in first, and the race is over, right? 7 laps into the race. It's actually very annoying to watch. And you start to think to yourself, well, what is it about Max Verstappen that's like, he's just dominating the field? And maybe they have a better car, you could say that, sure. But even with his teammate, right, Sergio Perez, same car, very different results. It's the driver in the car, guys. It's the driver. It's you as an individual. So when you are approaching a decision, don't look at like, is this going to work out for me? It's fine to look for social proof. That's fine, right? But the most important proof you need is inside of you and how you show up in this world, because that's the only guarantee you have in any walk of life. And the sooner you get that, the sooner you'll be where you want to be. Cool? So thanks for hanging out. Let me know in the comments what has landed for you today. What did you need to hear? Let me know in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.